Well, guys, welcome here to another edition of Sunday Morning Tinkle. God, I gotta tell you, on the audio side, I hate the updates they made to Anchor. So, for those on audio, I apologize for the thing actually coming out late because it's just. Ever since they did the update, it's you gotta verify that it's done. When it's done uploading, submit. They're like, come on. Really? Like, just let me submit it while I'm uploading it. It'll submit at the end. It doesn't on YouTube. It lets me do that. But now you have to wait for it to finish uploading before you can verify it. So I apologize, and sometimes I forget that. And then I realize it 2 days later when it says draft. So, but the good news is I have it on my phone, and I hope you guys subscribe to it too on your phones. So that way you know when the new episodes come out. Because otherwise, you're like me, and you're wondering, when did it come out? But anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. I'll get things started. Let's talk about them Chargers. A big win against the Chicago Bears on Sunday. It's one of those where I just say moral victory, but I just got to say, Jason, I told you so, because you picked the Chicago Bears when we went through last week. And I always keep... You did. And I...
Did I really? Oh, all right.
And I always keep the receipts, so just wanted to mention that. They're still in danger. That's just nothing... To me... No offense, it's like the Bills' first few wins. They're moral victories. That's all they are, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, to be truthfully honest with you, I mean, if I did go with Chicago, I guess I was wrong. I could have swore I remember saying something about Chargers, but it wouldn't shock me if Chicago won. But if I did go ultimately Chicago, I guess I could eat my words, honestly, on that. Bad Jet looked kind of terrible in that game, not gonna lie.
Still looks like the best quarterback on the roster, though.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I think him and Levis are probably the two better options for both the Tennessee Titans and the Bears. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the Chargers, they're almost as inconsistent as the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's saying something.
But the difference is the Steelers back into wins. The Steelers will still come out 9-8. I guarantee you.
So weird, honestly. I mean, I see a lot of bad things for both teams. So if somehow the Chargers keep Brandon Staley out of this year, could be possible, could not be. I know we're not going to really get into that topic because I know what you say about it. You've been very vocal about it, and
get the fuck out. There you go. That's what I say to him.
Yeah, of course. But if he sticks around, I would think that there needs to be some kind of changes to the offense, if not defense, just to help this team win games, because this team's a lot better than a 3-win team. I'm not gonna lie there.
There's too much talent on this roster and too much money spent.
Right, and could there be a lot of inconsistencies from Herbert? Yeah, but I think the whole team in itself needs to come and play like a team. I get it that play calling could be this, play calling could be that. We see it a lot from a lot of teams that should be a lot better than what they are. In terms of the Chargers, it's just a tough go. I think that they just got to play out the season and see how it's going to go from here. Because, they're not technically out of the playoffs. There's still a lot of games left. This is we're heading to week 9. So there's still, I guess 8 more games if I count that correctly. Actually, no, not 8 more.
Well, we don't have a bye. We don't have a bye left. We already had our bye, so.
So I guess there's a good amount of games left for the Chargers. So if they're gonna turn around, they gotta do it. Heading into next week's game. This week's game, I should say.
Yeah, it's this week.
So they really got to start turning it around if they want to head into the playoffs. And if they don't, I think that it's going to be a long off season of making a lot of changes.
Yeah, and I think it's, we don't have a window, I don't think, because I don't think we've been anywhere close to good to be in a Super Bowl window. But we're a team that spent so much money, spent so much, just invested so much in trying to chase the Chiefs, and we should not be 2 games behind them in the division right now.
Right.
Not with the money we spent, and we shouldn't have lost to them with all the money we spent. But the 12th man for the Chiefs always wins the game. So,
Yeah.
the guys in stripes.
Right.
But anyway, I gotta talk about this. I feel like this story is very big. Bobby Knight has passed away at 83. And, of course,
Former coach, right?
former Indiana Hoosiers coach, former Texas Tech coach before he retired after the '08 season. 906 wins, sixth most all time. Up until like the mid 2010s, he was the winningest coach in college basketball. So, and of course, known for being quite the hothead, of course, throwing chairs on the court. He was known for that. So, I'm going to miss that, because we're never going to see that again. Call it what you will. We will never see that again.
Probably just a different era. Nowadays, people see that and they're gonna lash out and be like, "Oh, he should be fired. He shouldn't be,
Yeah.
lashing out on the court like that."
Yeah. Well, nowadays,
So,
players are soft. They don't want to be bossed around.
all that too.
That's the whole issue. But there was one quote that he said that really, I mean, of all the things, I mean, and this one's perfect after he just passed away, but one time at Indiana, he gave a speech, and it said, "When my time on Earth is gone, and my activities here are past, I want them to bury me upside down, and my critics can kiss my ass." So I look forward to seeing him buried upside down, so that way all his critics can kiss his ass. And I will tell you that personally, I hope to be buried upside down now. So that way all my critics, all my haters, can kiss my ass too.
I mean, hey, that'd be something. I mean, I feel like it's going to be tough to bury somebody upside down like that, especially when you're still going to be
Well,
in
he
the
doesn't have
casket.
to breathe.
But
Not to
hey,
get morbid, but he's not going to be breathing. What does it matter? It's not if I lay flat on my face on that bed right now, I ain't breathing. I got news. There ain't no way I'm going to be able to breathe unless, I turn my head to the side. But
right.
it just goes along, and I got to list another quote that I like. I believe the late Muhammad Ali said this. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. So,
Nice.
it just goes right up there with that. Among the funniest sports quotes I've ever seen. Probably the top one now. And I can't believe it took till just now to figure that one out. And rest in peace to Bobby Knight. I know he went to Indiana in 2020. He did not look good at all, so I feel like this was kind of expected, but 83 years, he was a great college coach, and prayers to his family for that, and of course, our condolences to them for the big loss. With that, though, let's let Jason take over.
Yeah. There were some high points and some low points from this game, and I'm not going to talk about the low points. I'm going to talk about the high points. I'm going to say that Buffalo does beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-18 last Thursday. looked pretty good in the first half. I think they were able to get the ball moving and were able to spread the wealth on offense, which was nice to see. Defense, I mean, they were able to sack Baker Mayfield 3 times, but again, it shouldn't be coming to the last possession of the game to decide if they're going to win or lose. And it just, I don't know. I mean, that game could have easily been a loss because if Chris Godwin knew that the ball was coming with him, and if you see the picture, that ball was literally that close. If everybody's watching on YouTube and anything else
And
that
on the Spotify, because
related,
Spotify we have video now.
right? That's how close it was to being a game loss, an L for Buffalo. Yes, they ended up being a W, but it could have easily been a loss because there was actually a perfectly thrown Hail Mary to Chris Godwin, and Chris Godwin didn't know that the ball was coming his way until last minute, and it was already last already gone way past out of the end zone, and they lost the game by that. But Buffalo looked good offensively. I will say that they got it going in the first half, which was nice. And I talked about it that if they're going to be able to really, show that they can win these games, they got to get hot and going early. The one thing I would like to see change is just that defense, and it kind of goes into my second point here that Buffalo Bills trade for or get a couple key pieces on the defense, and of course, yes, Leonard Fournette is one of the ones on the offense. Give or take, he might get some snaps and share with James Cook, but let's talk about the defense. The defense has been kind of struggling, got some pieces injured. I mean, Tre'Davious White is out for the rest of the year. Matt Milano supposedly out the rest of the year, but I really do think that he's going to be coming back soon. There was a picture of Matt Milano and posted on social media with a picture of him on the side in the game. It said soon, so I would think that maybe there's a clear thing that he could be coming back from the fractured leg sooner than expected. It might not be a season-ending injury, but again, I don't think he would be acclimated right away. Maybe by I would hope by the end of the year, maybe heading into playoffs, that he could be back. But one guy that might be huge because again, Tre'Davious White's been hurt, Daquan Jones hurt, Matt Milano hurt. Buffalo trades for probably one of the best clutch corners since 2021. Has had, I think it's 6 interceptions in fourth quarter or overtime since 2021, which is actually the best for any corner in the NFL. And Rasul Douglas, which Packers fans are partially not happy about it. I mean, we know a couple Packers fans, and they were very vocal about it. And then also Linval Joseph, yeah, that might sound familiar. He actually joined the Eagles last year, helped them get to the Super Bowl, and was able to be a great run stopper. Something that Buffalo needs. I hate to say it, they're going up against a lot of great running backs, and I think that he's somebody that can possibly help Ed Oliver beef up the line a little bit. So I'm grateful that maybe these can be some good moves for defense and kind of offense going forward. But the real thing is, is these the right moves, the right pieces for Buffalo to possibly help this defense and go up against a lot of these top guys? Because as of late, it just doesn't look like it's the same Buffalo team after losing Matt Milano in that game against Jacksonville. We haven't really seen the same Buffalo Bills team. I get it that those 3 wins were against Washington, the Raiders, and I'm trying to remember the last team, but I can't. And Miami too, and they kind of been up and down all year. So I don't know what you think about it.
They've been escaping with wins. I mean, and I emphasize escaping. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's,
have.
none of them. I mean, the Dolphins is really the only proving win of the year, or the only quality win of the year, rather. To be honest, I mean, Jones is going to be a big pickup for you guys, or it's Jones you got in the secondary, right?
Uh,
Rashid,
Douglas and Linval Joseph are.
yeah,
So Douglas
but
is the one that's in the secondary. He's
yeah.
going to probably
Oh,
be
Rasul
playing
Douglas. Yeah,
alongside
my
Christian
mistake. I
Benford,
got names
and
mixed
then
up. It's been a long week.
eventually Linval Joseph might be starting defensive tackle alongside Ed Oliver.
So again, you did mention Rasul Douglas is the one that Josh Allen called trash, right? Because we were talking about
Yeah, he
this in
was
the
the one
car.
that said "you effing suck" right to his face in
Yeah.
the game last year
So
between the Packers and Bills.
I think Bill's social media should just mic him up during practice. Josh, when Josh throws a pick to him, because I guarantee you it happens in practice that he throws picks to the defense.
Well, yeah, probably.
So when he throws one to Douglas, I would love a mic'd up Josh Allen and a mic'd up Rasul Douglas. And I would love to see Douglas go up and be like, "You fucking suck," with the big grin, on his face.
Do I fucking suck still? Do I fucking suck now?
No, you gotta tell him he fucking sucks. Just for the laughs. Just for the laughs. You gotta dish it back. Make him eat his own words. But
he got asked about that from the game last year, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? It's just a business. It's trash talk. We're kind of over it now." It's like you have to.
No one's better than Phillip Rivers, though. Trash talk. But no, I think those moves are good.
I mean, I'm hoping it's something that might help the team out because I mean, it hasn't been ruled out that Daquan Jones or Matt Milano are going to be out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I think they are on IR, but I don't think they're on season-ending IR. So they could very well come back. And if those pieces come back, I think that sky is the limit. Of course, you're not going to get Tre'Davious White back, and that's sad. I would love to see him back. But again, I don't think it's something you want to rush back because it's a season-ending injury itself. You're not going to be like Aaron Rodgers, who could come back as soon as like next week. Who knows?
But going back to that, of course, this, of course, I think this game's going to be the real test for the Bills at this point. And the Bengals are hot. Yeah. Even though they haven't beaten an AFC opponent yet this year, they're heating up.
Apparently, they haven't won on Sunday Night Football either. But honestly, I think it's gonna happen. And we'll talk about our picks too when it gets to that time. But it's a tough game.
When I was looking for media's worst take of the week, they said this is a double must-win for both teams, and I couldn't agree more with it. I think it's going to speak a lot about what each team has. Because I think, not without spoiling my pick and even trying to give it away in any sense, if the Bengals win, I feel like it proves they can still do a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
If the Bills lose, I think there's going to be a lot of fears of one and done. If the Bills win, you question divisional again, maybe AFC Championship. I don't think we're at Super Bowl talk. I just don't think this team is Super Bowl caliber right now. I think
just to let you know, too, with this game is that there's very big divisional aspects and aspirations because right now, I hate to say it, as much as Cincinnati's been hot, they're currently dead last in their division, and that division is pretty hot right now. I mean,
last in that division with everybody over 500 isn't exactly a bad thing.
No, it's not. I mean, I would think that probably the AFC North is probably one of the better AFC divisions right now. I'm not gonna lie, because anybody could win it. I mean,
exactly.
The Ravens have been looking hot. You have the Steelers who are in second place. You have Cleveland and Cincinnati. I mean all four of those teams have been proven that they can win games and look hot. So honestly, it's going to come down to the last exact week, I think, between all four of those teams.
And the Bills are still second, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
the Bills are one game back.
This is a very important game. And mind you, DeMar Hamlin, there's a possibility that he could be suited up and playing for this game.
Yeah.
And this is the first time he would be here since his cardiac arrest.
Yeah. And that would be cool to see, obviously. But what I was going to say is the Bills are one game back. If you guys are watching the premiere, which I know not many, if any, people watch our premiere when it comes out at 9, but we're 10 minutes away from game time for the Dolphins. So we don't know if they're going to win or lose against the Chiefs. And based on the way the Chiefs played last week, again, picks coming up soon, but there's a good chance the Bills fall 2 games back in the division, and it's going to look very bad. I mean, because we've got, we're on week 9. I mean, the Dolphins had a December just collapse last year, but I just don't think you can bank on that this year. I think you fall 2 games back in the division, you might as well just say, okay, we're fighting for a wild card at this point, because that's number one. You've lost 2 games in your division, so that's not going to look good in the head-to-head tiebreakers. And number 2, you haven't beaten a quality team, and the Bengals, to me, you're going to be battling them for a wild card because of the Bengals' slow start and how hot the Ravens are. So it's just, then you start questioning, are we battling for the 5th seed or are we battling for the 7th? And that's not going to be a good argument right there. So, I mean, I'm just listing out the worst case, preparing Bills fans that are watching this for the worst, so that way hopefully they can expect the best.
Yeah. So. I mean, I'm already, I'm expecting a loss. I really am, but hopefully I'm wrong. It'd be nice. But I tell you, Skip Bayless, man.
Yeah, but real quick. Man. Yeah, actually, let's go to Skip Bayless. I lost my train of thought. It's been a long week, like I said, guys, so that's why my voice sounds shot. Skip Bayless, of course, he still insists the Chiefs won the trade for Tyreek Hill, even though Tyreek has
over 1,000 yards in 8 games.
1,000 yards in 8 games. He's on pace for 2,000 receiving yards, and frankly, could steal some MVP votes. So, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Not going to happen in terms of MVP, because
no, but he's going to steal votes from crucial players.
Well, yeah, he might. I mean, unfortunately, the MVP is a quarterback award, and as much as it pains me to say nowadays, I mean, I don't think I can really even tell you the last time a non quarterback has won the MVP. To be truthfully honest with you,
and Jason, I've been very fair with you about the MVP race this year, and that I think Tua's leading right now. I think there's no question Tua's leading at this point. Now, Lamar Jackson
is definitely
top 3.
Shown.
But Tua's leading the league in passing yards. He's had a few rough games, so I think it's a close race for number 1. So before you jump down and say, "Oh, why do you have what's Tua number 1? What has he done?" I think it's close right now between Tua and Lamar. But man, Jalen Hurts is there too. I think it's those 3 quarterbacks right now leading this race, if I'm not mistaken.
But honestly, I mean, I think as much as he probably shouldn't be, but I think Josh probably should be somewhat kind of in that conversation, because I mean he's been his completion percentage is the highest between all the quarterbacks right now. I think his
Lamar
is 73 points. No, Josh. Josh Allen's has got the best completion percentage in the NFL at like 73.2 through like
But
8
he's
games.
just been on some rough stretches, though.
Yeah, he
So
is, and
I can't even really
he's
put him in
been
that
throwing a lot
race.
of picks. Like every single game, I think this year he's thrown at least one pick.
Yeah. I
I think
mean,
he's got like what 17, 18 touchdowns
so
and like 8
now,
interceptions or something like that.
yeah.
So
Now, we're not going to talk it before we go to Skip Bayless, or before we continue with the Mia's worst take of the week. I don't think there's any denial, and I'm sorry, you're going to be hard pressed to find anybody in this AFC that I think can take this award away from Tyreek Hill, and that's Offensive Player of the Year. I'm sorry, he's won it through 9 weeks. You might as well just concede it. I mean, it's Diggs isn't coming out of nowhere. Derrick Henry's not coming out of nowhere. It's Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry. That's kind of the
like
the
it's weird
Tyreek
though.
haters deal with it.
AJ Brown is kind of like
Well, AJ's gonna win it
maybe
in the
not.
NFC probably.
Is it AFC NFC Offensive Player
Yeah,
of the Year?
I think so.
Okay, I was gonna say AJ Brown is definitely making a strong case because that man has been averaging
Mhm.
over 120 yards through like 6 straight games. I think he's got it for the NFC. That
But
dude's a beast for Eagles.
but
But
go, but going back to
as
Skip's
far as this
thing,
trade goes, I think it's kind of beneficial for both teams. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs did win the Super Bowl and their receivers are kind of all right and have come to their own. But honestly, the Dolphins have benefited the most from Tyreek Hill because that man has helped them a lot this year. And Tua's been looking good. I mean, this is just how like I hate to say it, if Tua was healthy last year, this is the same kind. This is the team that you would have seen last year if he stayed healthy. They would have won that division. I think they would have been good. Hence why with Tua being hurt, Tua being healthy through 8 games so far, you can definitely clearly tell that. I mean, Miami is looking good at the
yeah.
top team in the AFC right now, and I mean, they're right
Breaking
there with Kansas City, honestly, looking pretty good. But
I'm going to say this. Of all the worst takes we've done since introducing this segment, this is by far nowhere near the worst take I've seen. But it's still one that you're like, really? Because
I mean, if we're talking about teams that won Super Bowl, maybe so far the Chiefs, but
that's so one-dimensional. There's, so many other great impacts that have been had from
yeah,
this. So, I mean, it's like Skip is just looking at it one-dimensional. He's not looking at the full picture of, the Dolphins were nowhere near competing with the Bills before he went there.
I will say this now. Say
Sorry.
okay, say yeah, this is the worst media take of the week. But say Kansas City actually did give him that contract extension because he actually was I don't remember what exactly was happening, but I think he was like holding out on purpose to try to get a contract extension, but then they ultimately traded him anyway to Miami. Say like Kansas City wasn't stupid and they actually gave him a contract extension he was looking for. That would have changed a lot of the aspects of Miami probably wouldn't be as good as they are right now without Tyreek. I get it, Tua's good, he's a great passer and stuff like that, but you have to ultimately think that without a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle would be your only top receiver on that team. And they probably would have still been good with Jalen Waddle, but Tyreek Hill definitely helps that offense to a different level. And I think if Tyreek Hill would have stayed with Kansas City, they would have been even more dynamic because then you have Tyreek Hill and then you have Travis Kelce on that offense.
Yeah.
And you know how good they were with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. But I guess I don't know. I think it's more beneficial for the Dolphins than it is the Chiefs. So Skip Bayless, again, you talk so much out of your ass. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I just hate to say it.
I feel like rings aside, and if you look at it from a 3D lens, yes, the Chiefs won it from the Super Bowl aspect, um, but the Dolphins won it in just how much growth Tua has had in the last 2 years. Now, again, the
Hmm.
concussion year last year, but this year
Right.
going and making that leap to MVP candidate. Who's to say the Dolphins can't compete with the Chiefs for this
They
AFC?
very well could.
I mean, you know,
Honestly,
I don't know if they're the top team that's going to go to the AFC championship and to the Super Bowl, but who's to say that, based on this trajectory that they've been on, that they can't do it? I mean, it's
I mean, if
just,
they can beat good teams in the playoffs, I can't see why not.
yeah. I think
But
this is the test
again,
this
this
morning.
yeah, it has to be. It has. This has got to be the test, and if they
But
can get past the test, the sky's the
but
limit.
but it's a different test than the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals because the
Yeah, of
Chiefs
course.
haven't beaten a good team yet this year. And they
Nope.
also just got spanked by the Broncos last weekend.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, runner up in the Tinkle on this category, the Chiefs or the Broncos playing Taylor Swift as the Chiefs walked off the field.
I know that was great.
Um,
That was great.
but Skip, you're not the worst. That was not the worst take I've ever heard, but it's probably the mildest one since we introduced this segment. But
Right.
boy, stop being so one dimensional for a 70-year-old fraud. So,
You know.
um, but let's move on. I want to talk World Series before we get to
Fair
the
enough.
um, the rest of these notes. The Texas Rangers won their first World Series um, in 5 games too.
That's crazy.
And let me just
I
say,
didn't think that Arizona was going to be that bad heading into that World Series, but I guess the Rangers just wanted them more.
now my favorite part of this, of course, it's the Rangers' first World Series. It's fantastic. But the Rangers never lost a game on the road this entire playoffs.
That's crazy. Crazy.
That speaks volumes to how good this team was. And to go into, I mean, granted, if you went into Tampa Bay, anybody's going to go into Tampa Bay and win that game. I mean, I don't know if you saw the crowd photos from Tampa for the first round of the baseball playoffs,
No,
but
I
the
haven't.
top sections were just empty. Like,
Ha,
every other baseball stadium was packed, and Tampa couldn't even fill out the top sections. So,
That's sad. And
uh,
Tampa's also another team that hasn't won a World Series. I thought they did, but I guess they didn't win a World Series before.
I thought they had a
That's
chance, or I
cool.
thought they would have had one, but what do I know? But
But there was
congratulations.
like a list of 6 teams that haven't won one, and Texas Rangers were one of the 6 teams that didn't win a World Series. But I guess the next 5 is like you got the Colorado Rockies, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and there's like 2 others that haven't won one before. And I know the Rangers were one of those 6 teams, and now they finally won one. And Jacob DeGrom was also one of the ones that won a ring
Yeah,
finally.
and
After,
and you got to be happy for him being a former Met.
Mhm.
And he thought he had a chance there, and he finally gets one of the better pitchers in baseball. Scherzer gets another one. By the way, Scherzer, a funny story. Of course, he played his first MLB season in '08 he played in '08 with the Diamondbacks. Of course,
Yeah, and
then
then he actually won the World Series in Arizona.
yeah, where he made his MLB debut many, many years ago. So it's a full circle moment
Hmm.
for Max Scherzer. I mean, once again, congratulations to Texas. I mean,
About
again,
their manager too, winning 4 World
Yeah,
Series
4
too.
World Series with different teams too, I believe.
That's crazy.
So
I
it's
mean, but
just remarkable. It's a feel-good story all around.
no, it is. And honestly, I mean, winning at home is already tough enough but to do it on the road and being undefeated on the road in the playoffs, I mean, that's a hell of a feat. And honestly, I think that's how they even won the World Series in the first place. I mean, if you can win a playoff games on the road and not lose on the road, I mean, shoot, you're gonna win the World Series, and that's what exactly happened. So, congratulations to the Texas Rangers. I kind of had a feeling they were gonna win, but I didn't think it was gonna be only at 5 games. I thought maybe Arizona was gonna somehow make it competitive, but hey, congratulations to Texas Rangers. I mean, I kind of always, I don't know why, but I've always kind of gravitated towards the Rangers for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe because they've just always been the underdog team. And I always seem to go after these underdog teams and I always like them. But it is cool to see them win a World Series. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
that's how I feel about it. But who is not having a very good Cinderella
Yeah.
story is the guy that we're going to be talking about
Oh
next.
yeah, Josh McDaniels has been canned by the Las Vegas Raiders, and this one I think came as a shock because I didn't expect it to happen till the end of the season, but Vegas proving yet again. Vegas is paying $80 million to coaches that aren't coaching their team.
I know. Well, it also didn't help that they signed John Gruden to like a 10-year contract, so he's going to be getting paid for a while, regardless if he's there or not. It was like a 10-year, $100 million contract, like 10 million each year. So I mean, they're going to be paying him out a while. Now they're going to be paying Josh McDaniels a while. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, the case could be said like, well, if they had Rich I can't remember what his last name or botch his last name, but well, he was probably their best coach, even though he was an interim coach. He took them to the playoffs, and then you don't even freaking end up bringing him back as a full time head coach. Then you get rid of him,
Hmm.
and you bring in Josh McDaniels, and you think Josh McDaniels was going to be the best option for you. I mean, this man already got fired by the Broncos halfway into his second season. This is actually the second time he's been fired, halfway through his second season by a team, because it happened in Denver. Now it happened with the Raiders.
I mean, Rich
So,
Biscaccia just proves he was the right choice for that team.
and now he's in Green
You
Bay, and
know,
look how good Green Bay is. I hate to say it.
and I think this has to be the end of the Patriot way being the only way to win a title, and it's proof there. I think though McDaniel's will land on his feet once again in um, Tampa, or I'm sorry, in New England. But again, we'll see. Um,
I
sorry if
mean,
I
maybe
keep.
as an offensive assistant, possibly, because I mean, you still have Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator, unless he goes somewhere. I mean, if it wasn't for for Bill Belichick resigning during the offseason, there could have been a strong case that he gets fired, Bill O'Brien becomes the head coach, and then you possibly bring him on back as the offensive coordinator. But fortunately, I don't see it happening unless somehow they make some role for him, unless he's like the quarterback coach for Mac Jones, which could be possible.
It'd be the
Who
right
knows?
choice because Mac Jones did better when Josh McDaniels was running the offense, so
True.
it would
So
make
I
a lot
mean,
of
maybe
sense.
an exception to bring him back in as. But honestly, I think that it's the end for him. I don't think he should be a head coach ever again in the NFL. Hate to say it.
Sad part is Robert Kraft might see this as a bailout now for the Belichick contract because
True.
he was supposed to be the head coach designate there whenever Belichick did step aside. So
Right.
we'll see. I forget who's the interim coach now for the Raiders.
It's that linebackers coach.
Man, I can't think of his name.
I,
And,
I don't even remember.
I'm gonna look up his name. He's a
Oh,
linebackers coach.
actually, I sent it to our one group chat, by the way.
Yeah, so it's
Uh,
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce. Yeah.
Um, but he's getting a lot of praise for getting the job. So another one that the Raiders will pass over once they start getting a run going. You know, another one they'll pass over and then sign. Oh, who will they sign? They'll sign like the Lions offensive coordinator, who's going to do nothing for him. So enjoy your time, Antonio Pierce, because you know you're going to get replaced. So just enjoy it. But that's all I got for that. I apologize if I'm looking up at the TV because my TV's right there. I got some of the championship races going on, of course, out of turn 4. I'll talk about in a little bit. But I have to, look up for that. But with that, let's take our picks. Let me get the browser. Don't tell me I closed it. Am I stupid? There it is. All right. So the game going on right now, Dolphins and Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 1.5 points.
I mean, I might go Dolphins here, honestly. I don't know.
I want to badly, but they did not do well against Philadelphia. So I'm going to have to lean toward the Chiefs, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna say, didn't Kansas City fly in late?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, then I hate to say I'm gonna go to the Dolphins.
Probably because of Patrick Mahomes' poor flu game. Yeah, I feel for him. He had the flu and couldn't play very well. And Travis Kelsey had the freaking Taylor Swift blues. But all right. All joking aside, and I'm hoping you guys just like that voice crack. Vikings and Falcons. Falcons favored by 3.5. No Kirk Cousins, by the way. Forgot to talk about that story. He is done for the season with an
Yeah,
Achilles injury.
Achilles. It's Hall, a rookie quarterback
Yeah,
playing for the Vikings too.
yeah, because Nick
Personally,
Mullins isn't healed up yet.
and Taylor Heineke will be playing. Desmond Ritter will be out because of a concussion. So it is actually two new quarterbacks that have never really played.
Well,
Oh, actually,
Heineke's
Taylor
played
Heineke
for
had
the
experience.
Washington.
I'm honestly gonna go with the Falcons at home here. I think Taylor Heineke is gonna help the Falcons win against the Vikings.
I agree. I like the Falcons here with the Heineke, so I'm gonna go with them. Cardinals and Browns. I think we're just gonna take the Browns. Although you can't sleep on Arizona, it's still a possibility Kyler Murray starts.
No, honestly, I think it might be Tune that might get the start against instead of Kyler Murray. If it's Kyler, fine. But honestly, I don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. I think he's just slowly kind of holding out on the Browns there. He says he's injured, but I don't know how injured he actually is. So I'm going to go with the Browns. I think PJ Walker is still pretty decent for them. And I think he's going to be the one that's going to help them win the game here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go the Browns, but Rams and Packers. Packers favored by 3.
I don't like that. I hate to say it. The Packers are just trash this year. The Rams have been getting it going. I mean, yeah, I know Stafford's not all that great either. But, I mean, you got Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. So I think that it's going to be the Puka show in Green Bay. I'm going to go with the Rams here.
I'm gonna go Rams as well. I think they're gonna turn around their luck. Commanders and Patriots. Patriots favored by 2.5.
I don't like that either. I hate to say
No.
it. um, as much as I would love to see the Commanders win here, I'm going to probably go with Commanders. I mean, I just don't think that Mac Jones will be all too swift against the Commanders. So I'm hoping, and also I'm hoping that Sam Howell has another big game because he just came off a big game against the Eagles, and although it was a loss, but I think they can probably win on the road,
Yeah.
honestly.
I like the Commanders. I think Sam Howell's proving week after week why he is the franchise quarterback here. He's slowly starting to prove it. So I'm going to go with the Commanders. Bears and Saints, I think we're both just going to take Saints, right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm going to go with Saints here.
Seahawks, Ravens. Ravens favored by 6.
By the way, might be the game to watch on the 1 o'clock game. It's going to be nationally televised too, which I'm happy about in our area. But I might be leaning honestly towards the Ravens here. I think Lamar Jackson is just playing an MVP form right now. So
I feel like they're doing very well, so I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. Bucks and Texans. Texans favored by 3.
hey, don't sleep on CJ Stroud. I'll tell you that now. I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with Houston here. Don't let me down, Houston, because I think that Buccaneers are gonna get lose 2 games in a row. I think that CJ Stroud is gonna do well here, and I think the Houston Texans are gonna win.
I think they made the right choice at quarterback, but I gotta go with the Bucks here. I think the Texans have been too inconsistent. So I'm gonna go Tampa. Plus, they had a good game in Buffalo, almost came back, so another reason to go with them. Colts and Panthers. Panthers or Colts favored by 2.5, but yeah, Frank Reich's coaching his old team against his old team.
Hmm. Got Gardner Minshew, who's meh, and then you have Bryce Young, who's a rookie and it's kind of been bland this year. So I mean, I guess take it with a grain of salt here. I might go with the upset. I might go with the Panthers at home.
I feel like I gotta agree because not for nothing, Frank Reich's gonna have all sorts of dirt to stop Jonathan Taylor and you know, um, basically that offense. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Giants and Raiders. Raiders favored by 2 despite the coaching firing.
I'm gonna have to go with the Giants here. I just don't trust Aiden O'Connell. I hate to say it,
Hmm.
and I don't even know if Daniel Jones is coming back this week. I think he might be.
I think it's
So I mean, if it's Daniel, it's a tough. This is gonna be a tough game for both of these fan bases, regardless. So, but again, I'm gonna go with the Giants.
yeah, I'll go with the Giants as well, but it's a tough one. It's such a toss up. This is the game of the week, I think. Besides the Bills and
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be
Bengals, the
televised
Cowboys and
too.
Eagles, and the Eagles are favored by 3.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Eagles, but I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I think.
Um, yeah, I think the Eagles are just so good this year. I mean, I think they're just next level good. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles. But yeah, I think it's gonna be close though. I mean, the Cowboys have proven themselves the last few weeks too. So it'll be interesting. Bills, Bengals, Cincy favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there. I just think Burrow's
Yeah,
heating up.
right. I mean, I know this is the first time I've gone against my team, and I'm doing
Hmm.
it.
And just as well, I mean, not just the Bengals getting hot, but the Bills have just barely escaped a lot of games this year, so that's another reason. Um,
I'm hoping once some of these defensive guys get acclimated, that it'll change, but who
yeah.
knows?
And can I applaud ESPN for the Monday night game? Because for the first time, they're going to have a Manning cast when the Chargers are playing on Monday Night Football. They have never held a Manning cast when the Chargers play on Monday Night Football. They'd always take the week off and, oh, we'll be back in 2 weeks. You know, so I'm going to go Chargers, Jets, Chargers favored by 3.5.
I don't know how I feel about that. Jets are just. I think I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I mean, they've been kind of. I mean, I get it. They've been very up and down, but this Chargers team has been very up and down too. So I hate to say it, I think that the Chargers are going to lose on Monday Night Football to the Jets.
I feel like Zach Wilson's best games have been in prime time too, right? This year,
I think so. I mean,
so it feels like he's shown
he was
out.
close to the Chiefs. I think on Monday night.
Yeah,
So
so I'm gonna go with the
I
Jets.
mean, he got the victory against the Bills the very first game, and that was prime time. I mean, he almost beat the Chiefs, but he threw a clutch. He threw a pretty pivotal interception in that game. So yeah, I mean, I would think that his most pivot, his most the best games so far might be on prime time. I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I just think they're, um, like I said, I think just Zach Wilson playing well in prime time. I think that's just a lot to say about him, but I think it's gonna be
as much
close.
as I would love to see the Chargers win here, because if the Jets win, Buffalo loses. You know who gets into second place, right? It would have to be those Jets. So, I mean, as much
Exactly.
as I want to root for the Chargers, I feel like the Jets are going to get into second place here, and
Yeah.
it's going to suck.
Um, Yeah, exactly. Panthers and Bears, there's no spread yet, but another shitty Thursday night game.
Who's to say? Maybe the Panthers can get 2 wins or 3 wins in a row.
I
I'm
see
thinking
it.
I might go with the Panthers.
I see it, and I agree for sure. Panthers here. So, with that, let's get to our tinkle on this. And it was close between the Broncos and Jerry Jones here, but I had to go with the Jerry Jones statement. He says, winning a Super Bowl feels like the glory hole. Wonderful analogy,
You
Jerry.
see, Niall, what are you trying to get at that kind of analogy? I just want to know.
He's walking proof that he's walking proof that you should definitely be forced to sell your team at a certain age. So, Jerry Jones, tinkle on this. Just terrible, terrible analogy. But with that, what's coming up on No Final Bell?
Yeah, we finally, MJF finally has become the longest reigning AEW champion. We definitely get some more matches heading into Full Gear in November, and or later in November, I should say, and yeah, it's looking good into heading into Full Gear. We have also a new pay per view that's going to be happening in December called World's End, so it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we got one more episode of Out of Turn 4 this week. So, final episode of the season. I keep looking up at the TV because the Truck Series Championship 4 is on as we're recording. Corey Heim got dumped by Carson Hocevar in this race. And those two are battling for the title, so there's going to be, not to drag Taylor Swift in this, but some bad blood at the end of this if neither of them win. So that'll be fun to cover. Xfinity Series, Hunter Nemechek could be the guy, who knows. Will he cap off the season with the championship? And then later today we got the Cup Championship. Blaney's looked quick. Can he close the deal? We're going to talk about all that on Tuesday afternoon. So tune in at 5 p.m. Eastern. Oh, by the way, happy daylight savings time, everyone. So hope you guys enjoyed the 1 extra hour of sleep. And yeah, so then tune in to No Final Bell on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern as well. And we'll be back here with Sunday Morning Tinkle next Sunday. Until then, bye everyone.